It's like we're in a studio now.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Joyce, I'm going to walk you back a little bit. Why do we have an attitude?
You know I don't like reviewing things that are past because I can't remember what happened.
Well, therein lies the tale. A couple weeks ago, we watched a film called The Golden Glove. And we cut that motherfucker off because it was too brutal to watch.
Oh, I was like, what? That one on Shudder.
It was on the Shudder app.
Yeah.
I think. Anyway.
And by brutal, you mean just shitty.
That's not what I meant.
You meant the actual violence?
We'll get into all that. But anyway, a couple weeks had passed. And I kind of figured at some point, I at least, or maybe both of us, would pick up the film and watch the rest. And it just hasn't happened.
Do you know us?
No, sometimes it happens. It's happened before. We've picked it up again. But anyway, so...
Do you want us to review a half a movie that we saw like 2 months ago?
We gotta do something with this thing. Because I watched it specifically to review it.
But we didn't finish it.
We can review the first half.
Here we go.
Well, it's the story of this guy who lives in Hamburg, I think.
Somewhere European.
German, I think.
I'm guessing German.
I think it was Hamburg.
That's where all the good serial killers are.
Oh, you know about this shit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Joyce is a serial killer buff.
Armin the cannibal? German.
He was the dude. They called him the baker of...
Nope, they didn't.
Butcher's Field.
No, they did not.
Okay, so anyway, this movie is about a fella who lives in his little apartment that has porn all over the wall, which I guess is a standard for serial killers. We'll go to the expert on that.
I mean, they do keep keepsakes, and usually it's like pictures of the murder or something from the victim, but
what does that have to do with their porn decorations?
This is one of the things that I didn't really like was that, you know, most serial killers, and this is based on a true story, I did look it up after he watched it, and they showed the crime scene, and he did in fact have porn collaged all over the wall. So this in my mind is another instance of someone who is maybe a little bit mentally slow rather than a typical serial killer who...
You're just writing this guy off as a...
They're generally very known to be charismatic. Like, that's how they get their victims.
He was charismatic as hell. Did you see the bar scenes? We watched a fair bit of this movie, okay?
He was not charismatic at all.
He would be like, I want to buy a drink.
Like, I was just like, is this really real?
That's how it all went down. They did careful research.
Who would put up with this motherfucker in a public setting?
Drunk,
this was like
other terrible people.
This was like where hell has an open doorway. This bar,
okay, so to
give people there.
I'm still trying to get through a synopsis here. What are we talking about?
I don't know. Look, you brought this on me.
All I did was ask you about the porn.
I told you about it.
Okay, so this man picks up women, old drunk ladies, and takes them home for his own purposes, not to get too graphic. This is a family TV review show. So he takes the ladies home, and just not all of them, but most of them, I guess a few of them. We didn't watch the whole movie, but he kills at least a couple of them.
Right.
And he has stinky bodies in his little attic room.
Right, but at the beginning of the movie, he was throwing body parts away, so he didn't keep that body.
Right, he was like, my attic is full, I'll get rid of this one by throwing it on a pile of shit outside this other apartment by my house.
So my issue with the film was really the filmmaking, like not the reality of what happened. Like there were so many things while I was watching this movie that I was just like, what is happening? Why are we watching this? Is this supposed to be funny? Like what is the theme, the direction?
The movie was praised for its brutal realism.
But it was very unrealistic to me, which is what I didn't understand. And it was so, like, dark. It's like, are you gonna lighten the mood? Like, this is a perfect time for a dark comedy, but it never happened.
It does kind of play like that. Like, you think funny things will happen, but it's just never funny. It's just further pathetic people or terrible people and just dingy, grody scenes. It's hard to watch. That was the reason why I turned it off. It was because like
it's a mood killer.
It just kind of made my skin crawl, and not in like a, oh my god, that's creepy or scary. It's like it reminded me of when I used to live in Detroit back when we moved out after high school, and we had our like dingy, grody house with the graffiti on the walls and like beer and cigarettes ground into the carpet. And like you look. At the time, you know, we were just like kids. You know, it was like kids on Pleasure Island in Pinocchio.
Yeah.
But you look back at it now, and it's like, oh, what was wrong with us? It's kind of like that.
Yeah, it was a like just downer mood killer.
Real downer, dude.
But like, I didn't think it seemed realistic in any way, shape, or form. So that's like, if you're gonna go hyper real, then be hyper real. Like it just. The scenes I didn't really understand what was happening because they were so unrealistic to me.
What was unrealistic about it?
The sex scenes with like the old lady, like you don't even like I don't really even understand what are you doing?
What? All right, he was doing heinous, bizarre things. He had like some kind of inserting foreign objects into people fetish. So, but see.
It didn't look real.
Do we have a basis for how that would be portrayed realistically?
I mean, my mind...
Do you and I know?
My mind knows. I know how sex works. Like, what was there was something in the opening scene, but it's been too long since we watched it, and I can't remember. Like, when it very first...
It's when he's cutting up that body. That's the opening scene, correct?
But wasn't he was having sex with the dead body in the beginning, and I was like, what is he doing? Like, because the way it's filmed, you can't clearly tell he's, like, having sex.
Maybe the actor just didn't want him.
And then the prosthetic nose, get the fuck out of here with that.
Dude, I looked it up, for real. The guy had a effed up nose.
Yeah, the real guy, but that nose looked so fake. On the actor. Like, it was just the worst prosthetic job ever.
It was jarringly distracting, I guess, on his face, but maybe it was supposed to exaggerate how ugly he was.
I guess, but again, not realistic.
To take us back to what you said about the filmmaking, I like the filmmaking. That was one of the things I like about the movie. Like, you know, there's really only like 3 or 4 different settings for the film, which was the outside streets, his dingy apartment, and that shit-ass bar. And somehow, and like, they're not even like, you know, there's not a lot to look at. Yet somehow, especially the bar scenes, I was like, that's the plainest, like, most depressing looking bar I've ever seen in a movie. Yet, it kind of had character for me. It was like I was in a place.
Dark energy character, maybe.
Well, yeah, for sure.
But like, why would anybody hang out with this guy? Like, his brother showed up.
He was in public.
And it was like the brother treated him like he was a normal person, when he was very obviously in this movie not a normal person.
Dude, you don't have a brother or
How does
sister.
he have any friends?
You're an only child, so you don't know what it's like. When you grow up with people, you think that that's normal. That's how it works, Joyce.
Okay.
Also, one thing I appreciated about the film was, like, I felt like it had a Sergio Leone level of casting in it. You don't think so? Because I can, like, 2 weeks later, after seeing half of the film, I can see everybody's face in this movie. Even characters that had like one line. Like there was the creepy bartender. There was the guy they said was an SS officer. There's the lady sitting at that table. You know, the Salvation Army lady. Like, you remember what they looked like. They had jarring faces. And not everybody can do that for their
I don't
movie.
remember what all of them look like.
You do?
Don't.
I guess that's where we differ.
And like, I generally like serial killer movies.
But not this one.
I didn't care for it, no.
I would say I have a respect for this film. For
You
what it,
did
for,
not
for them
finish
attempting what
this
it was.
film.
It was not the film for me.
How are you gonna do like a complete 360?
I've been saying through this whole thing, it was hard to watch, and I couldn't watch it.
But now you respect it. I
But it
think
doesn't
it
make it a
has
bad movie. It's just not
Sergio
for me.
Leone casting.
It did. It truly did.
Get out of here! No.
Who would you recommend The Golden Glove to?
People who like really creepy, weird shit. People
Right,
who
like if
like
you're-
those like dark and depressing fucking mood as fuck.
Those people exist.
Emo people.
And I would say people that enjoy stuff like Traces of Death, Faces of Death,
That's going back.
you know, brutally realistic, just like,
But
why
not
would a normal
realistic
per-
at all.
you know, like people that watch a movie where you're like, you know, why would anybody watch this? And then you're like, oh, my friend would love this.
Right.
I would recommend it to them.
Sure. I like Suspiria better than this.
Dude, which one? The old one or the new one?
The new one.
You like the new Suspiria better than this one?
Oh, for sure.
If you like the new Suspiria, you will love The Golden Glove. Oh, wait, that's not what happened here.
No. It's not.
Yeah, you know, if you like serial killer stuff, check it out.
Indeed. Maybe we'll finish it one day. Do the other half.
Bet.